Good evening, morning. Oh, I even had it in my head as the song's playing. I'm like, good morning, good morning,
Good morning.
good morning.
Good morning.
I even almost went good day because you never know when people might be listening to this brand new episode of the Odyssey Files.
Very true.
I am obviously your incompetent host, Michael O'Neill, who can't figure out what time of the day it is. With me, once again, is my co-host, Mr. David Soring.
Good morning, everybody.
Good day, Dave.
Good morning, Mike.
I don't know if I can say good day because it makes me feel Australian.
Yeah,
good day, Mike.
Or
like
British.
I just want to be like, good day, Mike. Like that's. Yeah. I want to say just with that little line, I think I do a better. I don't know for sure, but I think I do a better Australian than Cameron does.
Well, that was I was just gonna say that was a pretty good Australian.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I was impressed that came out. So
look at that, a talent.
Yep. Hidden talent.
To sound Australian with that one line, but that's okay because that's really all you need.
That's right.
So,
I agree.
Anyways, we have an amazing and somewhat chaotic episode today because we have like 500 different things that we want to talk about during the show.
We kind of do shotgun approach today.
Yeah, it's not like we're being all spontaneous. Like this is what we've planned to do for the show, but we're just kind of. You ever had those things where you procrastinate, and then like one day out of the blue, you have the energy to just do 7 things that you've been putting off all in one day. And that's kind of this. It's kind of this episode a little bit. Oops, I forgot to turn on. What is wrong with me today? My extra paleness. Forgot to illuminate that.
Oh, there you
go. So anyway. Where we're going to start is with an update, an unforeseen update. I honestly, when I brought this up 2 weeks ago, it was a joke. Like I absolutely 100% didn't think anything of it other than it was just going to be funny. And apparently, my 2 Earths and the other Earth, the new Earth, is starting at Planet Fitness. Apparently, that's a thing. That is an actual theory that people are throwing out there. Not because of me, unfortunately. This predates my joke theory. And I just want to give full kudos to Anthony for showing me that there are other shows, there are other radio shows out there that have been talking about it or have said that they've had people, multiple, not just me, not like me, like one other person, in Bukkake, freaking Arkansas or whatever, but thinks that Planet Fitness is the setup for the new Earth. And they also used the same thing that I did. They mentioned the whole "we're stronger here on this Earth" billboard, which I only saw once. So it's almost like a Mandela effect. Like, did I really see it? Because now it's gone. I don't even know where I saw it. Or they changed it over to the whole $15 thing, which I will also point out, at least around here in the Twin Cities, it's like that's the new crystalline doll. Like I'm seeing these billboards everywhere now, everywhere, multiple times a day. And I'm not seeing a lot of Chris Lindahl billboards. So apparently there's like a shift now. So from real estate to fitness. But I guess people have been touting that the whole like non-judgmental atmosphere at Planet Fitness, which I guess they have, is the whole like shedding of the negative emotions that people have for themselves.
Yep.
And looking brightly. I guess like the treadmills are called like the stairway to heaven. You know, so they're everybody is saying like all of these things are the subtle context for subtext, I guess, for the new Earth. And I laugh and I'm just like, what? Like, I said it as a joke, and honestly, I still feel it as it's an absolute joke. But it shocks me that there are actual people out there who think that that is what's going on. And I guess I can't really say much. I don't know everything about the paranormal. Maybe that's the way they're going now. Like the League of Shadows. They're like, we decided to try a new method this time. Fitness, you know, to try and get people to do whatever, you know, it is that their goal is.
Well, it would raise your vibrational level.
Yeah, no, it absolutely would.
So, yeah, right. So you'd be in a higher vibration, which is purportedly the differentiation between the two Earths.
I mean,
high vibration and low vibration.
And it's always been, and I've thrown this into Cena's face so many times, and I just laugh every time, and I'm just like, yep, you know, there's no fatties allowed on the new Earth, according to Dolores Cannon. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much it. So, I mean, where else would you do that besides a fitness place? I mean, unless you actually want to diet and exercise yourself, who wants to do that shit? But yeah, and then of course, as you lose weight, you gain confidence. If you know something you don't have, so you're raising your vibration there. So I mean, I get it. It's still beyond insane. Like, it's something that when I come to you, Dave, during the show, and I'm like, I got something that's not even in the ballpark. You know, it's in the left field. You know, the left field parking lot.
Yeah.
You know, for an idea. That's where this comes from. Like that area. And you know, when I say that, I'm about to say something that's just batshit crazy.
Yeah. Most of the time.
On purpose, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But apparently this is an actual thing.
Well, here's the beauty part about it too, right? It only costs you 50 cents a day to get a free pass to the new Earth.
You want to know?
I mean, how cheap is that for being on the good planet?
Okay,
50 cents. That's like you can't even get a cup of coffee for 50 cents anymore.
I'm going to say something here. And I want to predicate it or disclaimer it or whatever, but saying that I understand that there are a lot of issues with society and programs and stuff like that. But I have noticed, and I don't know if you have either, that every single issue, every single problem that seems to exist on the planet, from the NAACP all the way to child hunger, can be solved by giving $19 a month. It's just 68 cents a day. Everything, you know, from
save the whales,
save the adopt the dog, everything. Like, when those commercials come on and they start talking, I'm just like, $19 a month. Even if I've never seen that commercial before, like, just $19 a month, 68 cents. Planet Fitness, I can save some money.
I could.
That's only.
And here's the question, right? So you get your membership. It's only $1. to join, and then $15 a month. So are they keeping track of whether you go or not?
I doubt
Right.
it.
So can you just pay your $15 a month and get on the New Earth and never even have to go exercise?
I see that.
I mean, that seems like a deal to me. So.
That to me though would not work, because then that would be a bribe as opposed to you actually doing the work. Like, if just by paying $15, that doesn't raise your vibration level, unless you're so happy that you bribed them. That you raised
raise it a couple points. Yeah. For me, it would raise it a couple points that I'm getting away with something sneaky.
Yeah.
So what if I join? All right, let's do an experiment. What if I join? Because I could lose a few pounds. What if I join and I start wearing a T-shirt that just says New Earth on it every time I go to the gym, and then see like who approaches me and what they have to say?
New Earth resident.
Right. I mean, like, am I going to get called back by like the manager and be like, hey, I noticed you've been wearing this New Earth shirt. Come over here a second. I got something to chat with you about.
I honestly don't know. It would be hilarious. Just have this future New Earth resident.
It'd be hilarious.
And then put like Planet Fitness or whatever up on the chest thing.
Just have a really nice logo of two Earths pulling apart across the back, like, and one of them like bright and shiny, and one of them dull and dirty and dingy.
I bet you'd sell. I bet you'd sell 1 million. Honestly,
you probably could.
I bet you would.
Yep.
Just I'm gonna look into that, because that's such a great idea. We'll split it 60-40.
Perfect.
So anyway, I wanted to give that update. That thanks to Anthony, my joke theory is apparently a real theory. So anyways, are we ready, Dave?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right. The Odyssey Files is proud to present the Mailbag. Yes, indeed. I want to start with a question.
Yeah.
Because this is something that a lot of people do ask this question, and I don't think they understand exactly, what the theory behind it is. So why do spirits make the air cold? I was wondering if there was a logical or somewhat scientific reason for the air to get cold when spirits were nearby. I've been having some weird stuff happen in my house, like bags falling around the house after around 1 a.m. And when I'm in bed, I suddenly feel very cold air in some parts of the room that I could feel in parts of my body. I've really stopped caring much about this sort of thing since I heard a voice in my left ear while trying to sleep when I was 11. But it still has me curious. Do you guys know why they are cold? 'Cause they're dead. Duh. I'm just kidding. That's not the answer.
Yeah, that's not the answer.
That is not the answer. When I read that, though, I'm like, hello, they're dead.
Right.
That's why they're cold. No. The actual answer is, and this is the long standing theory, and I think that there are so many different experiences that people have that fit what with this. I think if we had a factual, like, textbook of supernatural happenings, like, this would be one of them. Like, this would be the fact. So basically, when a spirit is trying to manifest itself, whether it's trying to show itself, whether it's trying to move something, whether it's just trying to get your attention, disembodied voice, anything that it is trying to do on our plane, it needs to manifest that. And in order to do it, they have to have the energy to do it. It's why Dave and I, whenever we get a story about some like huge type intense experience where like that takes a lot of energy to do. Especially, if it's like a long and sustained thing, and they need to draw that energy in from any source that they can get, which for the most part is the air. And so they draw the heat in from the air or anything that they have available to them, and that obviously takes the heat out of the air and makes the air cold. I think that the more they're trying to manifest, the more colder it gets, and I think the bigger the area is. Because there's a lot of people that have claims or whatever that there's always like one room that's always so cold. Something like that, and that could be because that's where spirit hangs out. Maybe there's some sort of power source in that room or whatnot where it just likes it. But that's not to say if you're like walking down the hallway and all of a sudden, maybe you walk by a room and the window's open and you feel that it should be colder than it should, they have a cold spot. That's not it. I mean, we're talking.
No, you'll know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's instantaneous. Yeah. It's like walking, like if you like, it'd be similar. Like if you left the freezer door open and you walked right by the freezer door, but there's no freezer there. It's kind of the best way I could describe it, right? It's like this really intense drop in temperature.
Yes. And it's very localized.
Very localized, absolutely. Yeah.
So something for this particular story, something I think is trying to get your attention. If you're doing, I don't know about the whole bags falling around the house type thing. Maybe they're just not steady and the car drives by and the vibration, moves it to the point where it falls over. I don't know. But the whole cold spot in your room and you could feel it in your body is probably more than likely a spirit's trying to get your attention in some way. Or, and honestly, and this is kind of where I separate from the whole fact thing, is I don't know if that is a only intentional thing or if it happens as naturally. I don't know if a spirit walks in the room and they're just trying to do something just out of habit. Let's just say, let's say they're not trying to bother you at all, but they're trying to move a pair of shoes or something like that out of their way. I don't know if that type of thing creates a cold spot just naturally, or if they have to intentionally try to draw energy in. That is where I don't know where the line is.
Right.
But in general, when a spirit is trying to manifest, that is why they create a cold spot, when they draw that energy in from the air.
I would agree. I don't have anything to add to that, other than don't mistake, like Mike said, an open window for a cold spot. A cold draft is not the same thing as a manifestation of an energy in your house. Yeah, it's a cold spot. You could feel it. Like I was saying, I think it was last week, when my mom kind of came to say goodbye recently, when she walked in my room, I mean, it was intensely noticeable. Let's put it that way. Goosebumps, at least a 10 degree, 15 degree temperature change. And it lasts for, mine lasted for about a minute or so, minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe. And then it's gone. But I do agree. I think that theory is the most logical theory I've ever heard, is that, they need to draw in energy, and energy is heat. Heat is energy. So, when they draw in that energy to manifest or to utilize it or to do something, they are, what's left is cold air. So, all right. So I've got an interesting one. Hey guys, I'm feeling a little silly about this, but ever since I moved to Indiana, this leprechaun energy has been creeping me out. I'm a psychic healer, but I totally love watching creeping movies, haunted things, etc., without any personal impacts or sensations. Then one evening, I watched one of these shows, and it represented a leprechaun as a demon. The last time I had this sensation was watching Jaws as a kid. It's like a weird paranoia specifically about this creature. It comes and goes. I casually mentioned this to a friend in another town, and he said people were constantly talking about leprechauns, and he feels a similar creepy energy frequently that also comes and goes. And then there was a post on a local forum about seeing one. Yes, I get it. St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and this initial phenomena happened in December. People say that these leprechauns are just tricksters. I can feel these beings everywhere. When I leave the state for a couple of weeks, no perception of them. I never thought about that until now, I guess. So likely I'm just a nut, and that's fine, but I'm beginning to wonder if anyone in the Midwest has had these perceptions, and if there's a creature that is malignant, which is a demonic or a demonic form of a leprechaun, in air quotes. Okay. Now I just have to put this in for context. I grew up in Indiana for the first 18 years of my life. And I never saw a leprechaun. I never even heard about a leprechaun, other than maybe like the movie Leprechaun. I don't think that was even out back then. But I mean, I knew what they were. They were the guy that had the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and it was the dude from the Lucky Charms box. But as far as demonic leprechauns taking over Indiana, I am at a loss. I even looked it up, and there is some stuff online, but not anything that I would quote on the show, just because it's nonsensical. But I'm not sure where this is coming from, especially with you being a psychic healer. So obviously you're familiar with the paranormal. So I really don't have anything other than I've never heard of demonic leprechauns taking over Indiana. So I guess I can't say it's right. I can't say it's wrong. I mean, if it's happening to you, if you leave the town or if you leave the state and you don't have any feelings, and then you come back and it's overwhelming, it could be something, obviously. Maybe your mind is just racing, looking for an answer. And for some reason you came up with leprechauns, and maybe because it's close to St. Patrick's Day. I don't know. But I can honestly say, growing up there, living there, having friends who live there, I've got a lot of friends that live all over the state still. And none of them have ever said, Dave, I need you to come over right away because there's a demonic leprechaun knocking at my window. So that's all I got for that one.
I think that, like in most things, when it deals with the paranormal and supernatural in general, and Dave and I have laughed about this, and we've harped on it, and we've complained about it, and we've ranted about it. Everybody thinks everything's a demon. Everything's a freaking demon. Mm-hmm. And somewhere somebody said something, this demonic little leprechaun, and then that translated into leprechauns are demonic. And are they part of the supernatural and paranormal realm? Absolutely. But they're like elementals. They're not demonic, they're elementals. Can they do things that are as evil and malicious as something a demon would do? Yeah, they can if you piss them off enough. Mm-hmm. But they're not demons. And I think that's the main difference, is you really have to piss them off in order to do it. Like you have to do something wrong, as opposed to demons who want your soul and they just want you. You don't have to piss them off. They'll come after you regardless.
Right. They're just on the hunt all the time.
Yeah. And honestly, leprechauns couldn't care less about your soul.
No.
They either want you to A, learn your lesson, or 2, leave. I don't know if leprechauns are Midwesterns, Midwesterian. I don't know. Couldn't have to say no on that one. In fact, I don't know if I've ever heard of any state having a leprechaun problem.
Didn't they consider the stuff going on in Kentucky in those caves to be kind of a leprechaunish type of thing?
I can't remember.
You remember?
You're talking about Hellier, right?
Yeah. Didn't they refer to that kind of as a leprechaun in the caves of Kentucky? I don't know why it just popped into my head, but I think
it's been so long I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't either. It's not clear. That's for sure.
But perhaps I'm not saying they can't exist here. I'm just saying they don't exist in such a fashion where an entire state is overrun by them.
I would have to agree with that. And like I said, I've got a lot of friends who still live in Indiana, and I guarantee you they would have reached out to me.
I definitely think that this is like propaganda for the Fighting Irish. Like, just because Notre Dame is the Fighting Irish doesn't mean that there are leprechauns in the state trying to fight you.
That could be it.
So I think you just need to settle down a little bit. So I don't think Indiana or any state is being overrun by leprechauns. Doesn't mean that there aren't any there. I don't think it's being overrun, and they're definitely not demonic. So I think everybody just needs to sit the F down and
take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath. You're okay. You're okay. Just gonna say it again. Say it with me. You're okay. Right. Or I'm okay. I'm okay. Whatever. I'm okay. So yeah, that's my whole take on the whole leprechaun thing. It's interesting. I haven't heard that. I hadn't heard that leprechauns were
caught
being
me off
considered.
guard. That's why I chose it. I'm like, okay, we got somebody from my home state of Indiana. Let's see what they got to say. Dave, come back. It's overrun by leprechauns. Demonic ones too.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving
pot of gold for you, buddy.
All right. So this next one, what did I provoke? Always the greatest start ever. Because you know something good's about to happen.
Yep.
To preface, whatever. I've always been susceptible to the paranormal. I see, hear, and feel all kinds of different energies and apparitions. I've been attacked on several occasions. I've done everything I can to protect myself and to not engage with them. It doesn't matter. They always find me. So it started a couple weeks ago. My marriage is comfortable, happy, sate. Okay. However, we are doing what we can to make our intimacy more exciting. We've talked about it. I've also expressed a few times about it. So I'm wondering if something has been listening or watching. I felt it a few times, ignored it, and hoped it was something passing through. I digress. I know that my first mistake, love it already, of sharing my feelings about such an intimate subject, it happened in the kitchen. My husband and child were upstairs playing while I was making dinner and cleaning up as I went. I felt a presence behind me, whispering words I couldn't understand. I turned to see if maybe my husband had come down to see if dinner was ready. I was alone. That's when the uneasiness started, like a shadow lingering in the darkness. I could feel it, and I think it knew it too. I went about my days with my child since I'm a stay-at-home mother, but the nights my husband was working late. I felt the uneasiness again. It was quiet, no more voices, passing shadows in our room. This weekend was different. I went up to take a shower, was washing, shampooing. The normal things you do when you clean yourself. I felt it. A sensual caress against the left side of my chest. Quote unquote, trying to be PG here so I don't get in trouble. You won't. You're okay. I froze. Of all the experience I've had, I've never been touched in such a way. I was shocked. It was odd, especially to see an absent curious hand caressing my flesh. So I did the most stupidest thing that even I know you shouldn't do. I challenged it. I said, I dare you to do that again. I know better. Apparently not. Anyways, this brings me to last night. I'll spare the details of the dreams and share the part where it happens. I was laying in bed. I feel a hand caressing my left side once again. Sorry, as I'm typing this, the realization is hitting me. Then it pins my upper half down, removes my PJs, and well, you get the rest. After it happened, it dragged me out of bed and presents me to my husband and went into the, I think she miswrote this. I don't know. Went into the bathroom of the hotel. I don't know if she's talking about a dream she had or what. I woke up feeling, she must have been dreaming. I woke up feeling drained. I felt violated. I still feel violated. I didn't want to sound dramatic, but what the heck happened? What did I freaking provoke? It took advantage of me. Oh, okay. You want to challenge me? Well, here you go. I need help. What can I do? I'm so scared and worried it's going to happen again. Or is it all a coincidence? I need your guys' opinions and thoughts. I know I messed up. I just don't know what to do if there's anything that I can do. My insomnia is creeping back up again. I had the hardest time going to bed, and after doing some research, I'm seeing that these demons can cause it. Makes sense. I also woke up extremely fatigued, out of sorts, and not feeling like myself today. Not much happened in my dreams except I felt its presence. It was heavy, dark, and I felt that uneasiness in my dream. I was telling my friend about it. She's sensitive to these things like me. She's experienced something similar years ago. She told me the demon visited her. It told her to stay out of it, that she's mine. So, meaning the writer. I smell good. It doesn't stay. It doesn't. If she doesn't stay out of it, it'll visit her again. I'm terrified. I didn't know it could do that. Okay. I'm going to say something here, and I want to again disclaimer it with this. Obviously, no woman, period, should ever be violated by living or the dead or the demonic, whichever you want. Doesn't matter. No obviously means no, and that's that's the end of that. It's 100% guaranteed. However, that's not what you did. I know you think that's what you did, but you didn't. The I dare you to do that again is just I don't even know if this is the thing, but you like just negatively put a negative connotation on an invitation to it, to whatever this entity is. That's like when you walk up to your girlfriend or whatever, and you start to, get her in the mood. She's like, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to stop that. I mean, I get it, but I mean, I don't know what you were expressing to your husband. I mean, it seems like the based on the context of what you were writing, it seems like the way in which you wanted to spice up your sex life was to invite a spirit to come and join you, is how I'm taking this. I don't know if you're the same way, Dave. If you didn't get the same thing. I don't understand what this entity and your wants for spicing up your sex life are compatible, unless that was what you were trying to convey to your husband you wanted to happen. Either way, just by your reaction to that, and this sensual caress and everything, it sounded like you wanted it again, but you were trying to do the whole, no, I don't, I don't want to say you're trying to play hard to get, because that's just not correct. But it definitely seemed to me like you did want it to return. and you wanted it to do it again, and then you got more than you bargained for, which is typically the case.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this an incubus? I don't know. They do come and go. They're succubus and an incubus are the two hardest demonic entities to actually get rid of, simply because they're not always there. In a normal possession and a normal demonic haunting, they're just always there.
Mm-hmm.
But these two different type of demonic sexual demons come and go, and I find it so odd that it would visit your friend and just tell it to be like, if you don't want me to come back, you better stay out of it. Like, that just doesn't seem correct. I don't think that's ever really happened before, where it's going to strike up a deal that you stay out of my business and I won't attack you again because I've already done it. I don't know a ton about incubuses, though. Maybe that's the way this one wants to play things. I honestly, I don't know. If it does continue to happen, you're definitely going to have to seek some sort of assistance, some sort of help. Whether it be a priest, whether it be a psychic medium, maybe not your friend, I don't know. Somebody that has more experiences than I'm actually going to change I do not want you to use your friend whatsoever, because apparently she is also a victim.
Yep.
Yeah,
but I definitely would not go to her, because that's just an open phone line. If she's already experienced the same thing, anything that she's told will immediately transfer to whatever attacked her.
Yeah. So I would definitely not use your friend. I would use somebody like Cena, who's got experiences with demonic entities, and see if they can give you some sort of assistance. Like I said, because it's the demonic entities, it just comes and goes. It's going to be very, very difficult to get rid of it, unfortunately. Since it likes your smell, don't shower for a few days. I
change your cologne.
Well, perfume, but
or perfume, right? Yeah.
I don't think that actually has anything to do with it, but you never know. I would assume the smell is more of an energy type thing.
I would think so. Yeah.
But
like a vampire.
Pretty much, yeah.
A vamp can, tell whether you got good blood or you got diseased blood.
Yeah, high vibration probably increases your smell, and if you have been associated with the supernatural for years and years and years, I would assume that your light is pretty bright, which means your energy and vibration is pretty high. So was an entity listening? Yeah, they're always listening. Which is, again, why I don't know how that fits into you wanting to spice up your sex life, other than you saying specifically that you want some sort of supernatural experience. I hope that's not the case, because no, you don't need to do something like that. But Dave, obviously you disagree with me, so I'm going to let you take over.
So I can't help. I just got to throw this out there, because it happens all the time. Whenever you talk about something, the next 15 minutes later, you pick up your phone and all of the shit in your phone is pertaining to the conversation that you just had, whether it's an Apple or Google, it doesn't matter.
That's happened.
Yeah, it happens to me all the time. I mean, Terry and I would talk, we'd be chatting about stuff, and the next day I would wake up and I'd have nothing but flights to Indianapolis on my feed, and she would wake up and she'd have something about like a special discounts for, all inclusives in Mexico. And it was just flooding her feed, and we just laughed about it, but it's scary the way that stuff works, and how they do and how they're listening all the time like that. But here's kind of what I think. So she's talking about spicing up her life. She's sounds like probably midlife, you know. My thought was that she was looking for another partner to join them.
Threesome.
And so, you know, with that thought in place, right? And that would be a very private conversation, you know, like if you wanted to have a third person join you in bed. Somehow something was listening and knows that that's what you wanted and approached you with that kind of thought process of you are interested in a sexual experience with someone other than your husband. And I think that opened up a door for whatever reason. It opened up a door and you let something in. And now I just don't, I mean, the word incubus popped into my head as you were reading it too, but I don't know that necessarily it's an incubus. I think, here's what I think you need to do. All right. This would be the very first thing I would do. I would discuss this in thorough detail with your partner, with your husband. All right. Make sure he knows what's happening. Make sure that he understands. Tell him everything. Don't hold anything back, because you get it off your chest. Be honest. The truth is always the best. And let him be your rock of Gibraltar while you're struggling, right? Then you need to take back your space. So you need to reclaim your space because you've opened up a door. The only person who's going to close that door is you. So you need to reclaim your space and close all the doors and tell this entity, hey, you know, we talked about it. I was interested, this and that, but that was private and you're not part of that conversation. And, you know, you need to leave, type of thing, and be firm about it. Not saying it's going to work, but that would be the first thing I would do. Then I would, because of who I am, I would go and seek religious counseling, and I would go to confession, and I would have my priest say, you know, prayers for me, or maybe have a mass in my, or do mass in my name, or something to flood you with the light of God. So if this is a parasitic type of thing, it's just going to scurry away and go back under the rock it came from. That's all I got.
I do want to say, and I kind of forgot to clarify this. I am not convinced, as you, Dave, that it is an incubus. I honestly think that it's probably just a very perverted and nasty, entity, like an actual
feeling I get. Yeah.
An actual like human, formerly predator. Human, predator type. And that probably you and your friend know, or did know, I should say. Yeah. You know, the fact that it's going to go for you and your friend, the coincidence of that is
it's astronomical.
It's astronomical. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. It's astronomical that an incubus is going to target you and your friend. But some sort of predatory type spirit, hearing, you know, who was probably listening in on your conversations, as Dave said, probably saw it as an invitation to do it, to do it to you. So I think there's a lot you need to work out. Just say no. Don't say I dare you to do that again.
Yeah, don't challenge it.
Because it will take you up on it. Mm-hmm. So,
and it'll be worse.
And it will be worse.
because you can't fight something you can't see or touch physically.
Yeah.
So you challenging it that's just fuel for it to take it to the next level the next time it attacks you. Mm-hmm. And be like, okay, challenge me again. You know? Mm-hmm. See what happens. So anyhow, all right, we all done with that?
Yep.
Okay. So I got an interesting one here. Something is wrong with my house ghost. So, no, I'm not a crazy person, guys. I've lived in my home for 15 years, and soon after moving in, we realized we had a house ghost, and we named her Sandra. We don't mind her being here. She's pretty benign, just makes her presence known by moving items, plays with our Alexa a lot, messes with the TV, and you can occasionally get a glimpse of her in your peripheral vision. I've only seen her full-bodied 3 times in the 15 years of being here. Since having my youngest son, who is now 5, I noticed Sandra started making her presence known more often, especially around guests to the house. I initially thought nothing of it other than, hey, other people are seeing things happen and it's not just me. It's been pretty steady activity over the course of the last 5 years until maybe about 3 months ago. That was when I started hearing people talking in the house when I knew that I was there alone. But they were voices of people I knew. I heard my mom shouting my name, my aunt saying random sentences, friends' voices, and so on and so on. I stood at the central point of the house and called out to Sandra and told her, I'm okay with her talking and using these people's voices, but I won't tolerate her if she starts to use my kids' voices, as then I'll see it as a lure, such as if I hear my boys calling me and I have to go to them, and I left it at that. A few nights ago, my partner got woken up at 3 a.m. by my 5-year-old son crying, and he went to comfort him. But on entering the room, he was still asleep and no signs that he had been stirring or upset. So he came back to bed and went back to sleep. I was unaware of this until he came home from work the next day. The same night, he had gotten up to check on him. I was woken up at 4:30 by my son telling me, the lady is watching me and it's scaring me. So I put him into bed with us to sleep for the rest of the night. Last night, my mom came over to the house to talk to me, and during our conversation, a chopping board that has been sitting in the same place for over 2 weeks fell forward onto the bench, and then I heard my 12-year-old say, oh, I'm sorry, Mom. The problem was my 12-year-old was in his room. We live in a 3-story house, and his bedroom is on the 3rd floor. We were in the kitchen on the bottom floor of the house. Fast forward to today, my 5-year-old is off school feeling unwell. And while laying in bed watching some YouTube, the TV kept changing video channels and the volume was being turned up and down obnoxiously, which obviously upset my son. I can't help but feel like recently this activity is ramping up and it's becoming very concerning. Do you guys have any idea on what could be happening or solutions on how I could get this situation resolved? Please, I'd love to hear them. Okay. So the first thing that is sticking out in my mind, and when I've read this a couple times now, the first thing that I totally do not understand is why you told Sandra it's okay to use your people you love to use their voices in your house, but not to use the boys. So it's okay that your dead aunt or your mom or your grandma, it's okay to hear their voices in your house from your house ghost? Totally not. Totally not. I don't know why you think that that's okay to do. I would, that's a line that is crossed over the line in the sand right there. You don't get to imitate voices of people that are part of my life. That ain't going to happen. So first off, that's the first thing that needs to get addressed here. Secondly, something had to have changed, some type of energy shift or something had to have changed for this activity that's ramping up. And I don't really, from what you wrote to us, I don't see an obvious reason as to why the energy changed. But to me, from what's happening and with this more, I don't want to say malicious, but with this more aggressive, that's probably a better term, more aggressive type of presence doing stuff, something had to have, the paradigm shifted here. And I, like I said, I don't know why. So I would be concerned. Again, this is a perfect example of taking back your space. I would get the whole family together, including your kids in this one, because the 12-year-olds probably haven't experiences and the 5-year-old just had an experience. So I would get the whole family together. I would make it very clear to Sandra that she's welcome to stay, but it needs to go back to what it was. Occasional instances, not this everyday thing, not this aggressive mimicking of voices. And then draw the line and say, this is it. We like you being here. You're welcome to be here, but these are going to be the house rules from now on moving forward. And if you're not happy with that, then leave. Go find another house. Go find some other family to be with, and see what happens. But somewhere in here there is a shift, I think, and I think she just didn't want to talk about it. That something happened or something. But that's what I got. Take your space back. I know it's my common answer, but it's the intelligent answer for a lot of these questions. So
I always love when advice is given and it's ended with, so let's see what happens. That just makes me think that it's okay if bad shit happens because it happens to you and not me.
Yeah.
I know that's not obviously what you meant.
No, that's not what I meant.
So I agree with everything that you said. I honestly don't think that that's what's going on though. Like I just have a hard time seeing a spirit who has been with, the singular family for 15 years, all of a sudden starts using other people's voices like that to me. And I agree, if there was some sort of huge shift in something that they did, but again, if you have got the energy and the relationship with the family where yes, 3 times over 15 years, but you see a full-bodied apparition of the Sandra, I don't see why, even if she's trying to get the lady's attention, why she suddenly start using other people's voices other than just what she was doing. I mean, why can't she just appear before her pointing at something that's wrong or looking upset or something like that? I'm honestly wondering, because she said that it started to change when she had her second child, who is now 5. And when you have 2 kids, probably 12 and 5, so the other kid would have been 7 when his brother was born. That's hard. Like there's a ton of stress when you're trying to deal with a 7-year-old and a new baby. And I'm almost wondering if this is a poltergeist. She started to create because of her stress, because of her frustration, because of everything that she was trying to do to deal with her family. If she didn't at that point in time start to create her own poltergeist. And after 5 years, it's going to be a very, I don't want to say intense, but complex. It's going to be a well-formed poltergeist by that point in time. And I'm wondering if it's this poltergeist that's using these other voices as opposed to this Sandra. No, the child came in and said the lady's, staring at me and it's scaring me. I think that was probably Sandra.
Yeah.
I don't think that was her intention. I think if anything, what she's probably been doing since the beginning is she's looking out for them.
Yeah, I would feel the same way about that. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if this whole change in energy and this whole change in Sandra's behavior is, I would assume that being a spirit or a ghost or whatever, she is, would be able to sense that energy, would be able to see it, would be able to feel it. And I'm wondering if the creation of that is what set Sandra a little different, that changed her. And honestly, I wonder if it changes Sandra. I mean, if you as a spirit or a ghost or whatever that is in a location such as, your former house or whatever it is, and something like that comes in, do you absorb that energy as well? And it starts to change how you see things as a spirit, Again, I have no freaking idea, but I just came up with that in my head right now.
Or if it's a more powerful entity, could it kind of put you in a submissive, not wanting to be submissive, but could Sandra now be playing in a submissive role with this entity that's substantially more powerful than she is? And she can't help it. You know, she's in a situation where she wants to protect the family, because I think that was what was happening too. I think that she's in the boys' room watching over the boys, you know, and then the kid saw her. That's all. And he's 5 years old. So there's a lady in my room. I don't know who it is. You know, you freak out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. I've been there. So that's exactly what happens. You're like, who the hell are you?
So obviously, I think what needs to be, excuse me. I think you need to at least bless your home. If you're religious at all, a saging would probably be good too. Just make sure that if you're going to go that route, that you know it is not to get rid of Sandra.
Right.
You know, because if it seems like you're trying to, even if Sandra is completely benign and she's just there to look out for you, she doesn't want any trouble. If you were to come there and she thinks you're trying to kick her out, that relationship might change for the worse. I've seen it happen. So if you're going to try to cleanse the house, make sure she knows this is not to get rid of her. And if she has positive energy and she has positive intent, it won't.
Right.
But it will get rid of negativity. It will get rid of negative energies. If that is what is, let's just say for the sake of argument that it is a poltergeist, it will get rid of that. If you are stressed out, which all mothers are stressed out, and we love and appreciate them so much for all the sacrifices that they make. But you need to take some time for yourself. You know, a lot of people suggest yoga. I have no idea. I can barely do the stand up. So, just not that flexible. But if you are having stressful, talk to people about it. Go and see a psychologist. Doesn't mean you're crazy. It just means you need somebody to talk to.
Right.
And we all need somebody to talk to. Meditation, yoga, anything that will level you out, that will give you some peace of mind throughout, the days and weeks ahead. And if you do that and you settle down a little bit, I'm interested to hear if whatever is going on in your house decreases as well. I think it probably will. But yeah, so that's my answer. So it is 11. Do we want to continue on, or do we want to do more stories?
Let's do one more each, because we've got our second half of the show. You were worried about maybe not having enough time. So,
we're going to have enough time now, but that's okay.
All right. Yeah, then that's fine. We can transition.
Okay. All right. Well, go us. So, I didn't say this at the beginning because we don't have any firm dates, but I just want to give everybody the heads up that April and coming up in the next couple weeks is going to be phenomenal. You're not going to want to miss an episode. We have like 6 different guests that we're all just, honestly, everybody's available in April. I don't know what's wrong with March, but like everybody's like, yeah, we'd love to come on the show, but I'm not available till April. Everybody's available in April.
Well, we got a great guest coming on next week.
Yes, we do. So Dr. Kathy Chapman is coming back next week to talk about, I guess, some recent.
Yeah, she wants to go over some recent things that are happening within her real life, and she wants to share them with us and our listeners. So full 2 hours. She laughed. She goes, no, an hour is not going to cut it. I said, that's fine. Yeah.
Fine with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so coming up, hopefully in April, I just got to nail down the dates, and all the dates will be up on odysseyfilesradio.com as soon as we get them. But we have Barry Fitzgerald coming back. Very much looking forward to that conversation.
Yep.
We have Mike Huberty, who is the founder and owner of American Ghost Walks, been on the show a couple times before. They're expanding, or they have expanded. I should say they are expanding. They have expanded their tours. So we're going to get a lot of history and stuff from there. Maria Schmidt, who is the owner of Mysterious Adventure Tours, she's going to be coming on. We're just waiting to see if it will fit into a schedule, but we're hoping to have Grant Wilson back on the show here in a couple weeks with his wonderful wife, Rihanna. And then we got confirmation. I didn't even get a chance to tell you this, Dave. Got confirmation from our third psychic medium. Dave and I are going to conduct a psychic medium roundtable. And we have Sina. I don't even need to say her last name because everybody knows who Sina is.
Yep.
We got Bobby Sullivan, and we have Witch Jody Jacobson. All have agreed to come on and be part of this roundtable. And Dave and I are going to throw out different topics that I'm sure that they get asked a lot. But I honestly, and this is the whole reason that I wanted this show, is I want to see if these mediums and these psychics, they get told different things by different entities.
Mm-hmm.
Is what Cena's told about this and that and whatever the topic is, the same thing Bobby gets told, right, and the same thing Jody gets told. And I want to see if they correlate with these questions and these topics, or if they differ, and why do they differ if they do. So I think that's going to be an amazingly entertaining show. Yep. I think it's going to be very enlightening for everybody. So we have a lot coming up here in the next 6-7 weeks. So hunker down, people. Shit's about to get real. The other thing that I would like to, before we get into our Wabasha Street Caves, is I finally, after weeks and weeks of being like, I'm going to do it, and then not doing it, I finally made a video tour of the new trailer. I posted on YouTube, which got less than, I'm just gonna say it's got shit views. I even tried boosting it on Facebook and got like nothing, and I couldn't understand why. Until I saw the post, because it went to my feed, because obviously I thought, my personal page follows, my paranormal page. Doesn't even show the link whatsoever.
Well, that would be why.
that would be why. So I'm gonna have to redo that post. But honestly, shockingly, TikTok has been the big view session thing, which shocks the hell out of me. But okay.
I don't know anyway, top app, so I couldn't tell you.
The only reason that I even had it is because I even started our show on TikTok and haven't done a damn thing with it since Jim was on. So I got really bad at that. So that's my fault. But anyway, so I wanted to play it here. It's 4 minutes. The only thing is obviously you're only going to hear audio if you're listening to the audio version of the show. So right. If you want to listen to the audio version of the show, great. But come back, go to YouTube, go to odysseyfilesradio.com, and you can watch the video of it. You can just obviously go to the second hour, and it's one of the first things that we talk about. And just if you want to do that and watch the video, I'm going to warn everybody that as the video goes on, the audio gets worse, only because I'm much further away from the camera because I'm trying to get everything in. So please bear with me. But here we go. We'll see you in 4 minutes. Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Odyssey Paranormal Society, and as we are celebrating our 10th anniversary as a paranormal team, I am reminded that when we started this, it was to help people either understand or figure out what is going on inside their homes and businesses with their paranormal activity. And as we continue that adventure, I would like to show you all the newest addition to the team that is going to help us with that, our new command center. Now, if I'm any good at editing, you'll be seeing pictures now of what this looked like when it was first bought, when it was brand new. And I would like to give a special thanks to Jason Zachman of A Helping Hand Handyman that did pretty much all the work in here that you are about to see. So why don't you come with me and I'll show you what's going on. You've heard of the Justice League table? Well, here's the Odyssey table. We'll be doing all of our team meetings, all of our reviews, all of our client reveals right here from this table. And here is a 55-inch touchscreen, so we can be able to zoom in on anything that we need. It's done with the internet, and when I want to connect it via to my laptop here with wireless HDMI. And all the sound comes out of this sound bar right here. And here we have our camera system up on a 75-inch 4K TV. I have traveling Wi-Fi, so no matter where we go, we bring our own Wi-Fi with us. DVR system that does 16, which I have 16 4K cameras along the shelf, and it allows us to monitor what is going on inside the investigation without actually being in the building. Behind me we have the two equipment cabinets. In this one we have all of our ops merch. We have our 4K corded cameras, all of our extension cords, all of our wires. And over here we have everything else from our wireless cameras, our power packs, all of our cameras, walkies, batteries, recorders, all here for us to easily grab. And speaking of grabbing, if you want a soda, we have our cooler. And if for some reason we can't plug the trailer into an outlet, we have our 4,500 watt generator, which will power this entire thing for at least 10 hours. And finally, what good is having a mobile command unit if you don't have any lights? So not only are they by the outlet, but when it comes time to start the investigation, there's an added little treat. We got LCD lights going all around the trailer for when shit's about to get real. And in case you're wondering how we're going to do this in the wintertime, trailer comes complete with an AC and heating unit up in the ceiling, done by remote control. And I can hide the rest. So that is the tour. Oh yeah, no applause needed, especially not for that video. I really need like a microphone like on my lapel or something like that to keep the audio consistent, and it wasn't. But my words, my audio was not what was important. It was just what the trailer is. So for any of you who want to go and watch it here on the show, you're more than welcome to. So anyway, okay. And that obviously that trailer was inaugurated. Is that even a word? Inaugurated?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that means it made its official debut.
Right, but I mean, I know like the inauguration or the inaugural, but I didn't know if inaugurated was an actual word.
That works for me. Yeah,
it works for me too. So anyway, this past Monday was the 10-year anniversary and the inauguration of our trailer at that investigation. And I'm just gonna say this. Holy crap. Not so much for the activity or the location, but just trying to get things set up. So the one, and I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out the best way of getting this to work better. But the Wi-Fi, which is honestly very good, 5K or 5G. But for some reason, when the trailer's fully enclosed and the door is shut, I can't get more than 2 bars in there with the Wi-Fi, even though it's got 6 humongous antennas that go in it.
Yeah, it's crazy looking.
It's a beast of a router.
Yeah.
But yet I can get better signal standing right next to it on my phone than I can this Wi-Fi. And it's the second Wi-Fi I've used. I had to cancel my other one because it got even worse. And so I'm very limited in how far I can get from the trailer. Now, obviously, if the trailer's parked in the driveway, I can almost certainly get into somebody's home. So, and that's my wireless cameras. Obviously, my wired cameras, I can go anywhere with. And so going to the caves, I knew that I was going to have to use both because there was no way that the Wi-Fi was going to reach through solid rock, to get the Wi-Fi signal to the cameras.
Right.
So there were a couple places, like I knew I wanted the lobby, which is right inside the front door. There's a coffee shop that's got tons of windows and it's much closer to the trailer than anywhere else. And it was all because this was the inaugural one. It was all trial and error. So even though it should have only taken us maybe a half hour to set everything up, it took us 2 hours. Not to mention, guests were showing up. Sam showed up. Pam showed up. So we wanted to say hi to them and we want to do that. And so we're trying to navigate all of this stuff. So we were only like 10 minutes into our investigation when you showed up.
Yeah, I came straight from work, but I was running behind.
Yeah, and so we almost just waited. We're like, he's going to be here sooner, but I'm like, well, he hasn't told me he's on his way. He hasn't told me he's running late. I'm like, maybe his back is hurting so much he just decided to head on home. So I was like, let's just start, and he can join in. But honestly, as I was walking around the place originally, because I was the first one there, obviously, went to the bathroom, which is in the bar area, which is probably the main, the main center point of activity at the caves. I could feel the energy in the place. So I figured, and I assumed that it was going to be a pretty active night. And honestly, besides, there was a lot of shadow play, a lot of light play, but not a lot of equipment type stuff, especially with
my ear.
Say what?
Said somebody moved my hair off my ear.
Right, and I was going to bring that up. But there
gentle stroke. It wasn't like a gangster. It was more like that's really what that's who's from what everything that I've read, and I don't know that, I know nowhere near as much about the caves as you do, but that a lot of the sightings are still like gangsters, like in their 3-piece suits, and there's going back into the 20s and 30s and stuff, are the type of spirits that are seen there.
There are, but there's also like former guides that spent 20 years there and then passed away, but that's John, who is a male, and he does like hair, so
he
hey,
might have moved. Yeah, he might have moved it. I mean, it was clearly somebody going like this and moving my hair over my ear.
But there are definitely multiple female spirits there. When we play Minnie the Moocher, that is because one of the former waitresses or whatever, it's actually a rule there that if somebody plays Minnie the Moocher, everybody has to take their glasses off the bar because she'll kick them off as she dances on the bar.
But I would love to have seen that.
I know. Well, that was the whole point of having all the glasses on the bar.
Yeah. That would have been great. See them babies just come flying left and right.
I have done it twice now, and neither time has that worked. So obviously she wasn't interested, or I played the wrong version. I don't know. I think I played a really good version. The Blues Brothers doing Minnie the Moocher. But what was your first? Because like your first question, I was surprised that you were so silent at the beginning. All of a sudden, the first thing you say is, "Who just moved my hair behind?" And I just kind of chuckled internally. I'm like, he's already getting experiences. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But I mean, what was obviously we had already started.
Yeah. I didn't want to, I was just listening, trying to get the feel and the vibe and stuff like that. I knew you guys had started and I wasn't sure where you were at. So I was just kind of sitting back and taking in the caves, taking in kind of the overall feeling of it.
Well, how was it? I mean, how was the feeling as you were walking through it to come to us and just getting kind of your bearings? I mean, what did you think?
Once I got kind of settled in, there's a lot of energy there. Like I felt right away that kind of feeling where we're here, right? Like we're here, and then everything else is here, so it's all around us, but it's just at that viewing point where they don't want to be too close. They want to just see who we are type of thing first, type of deal, before they would interact. That's kind of the first sensation I got. Then I got touched, and in that same room, Sam got touched.
That's right. He felt something brush against his leg.
Yeah, he said he felt like his phone vibration, except his phone was off. But he said he felt like it was his phone vibrating in his pocket. But that couldn't be the case because his phone was off. But that was in the same room that my hair got moved. Mm-hmm. So something was there interacting with us. To me, the bar was really quiet, and I really thought the bar was going to kind of be a hot spot. But I didn't get any feelings whatsoever in the bar, except when we did the Minnie the Moocher, and we all went to that back wall. I had that experience where somebody with really bad body odor walked past me. I mean, it was strong too, boy. It was like, whoa, like 5 days of hard labor and no shower. Strong. And I mean, like my eyes are watering now thinking about it because it was really potent, man. And it walked by me, and then I asked you guys, and it was really interesting that you pointed that out, that I was by the bathroom. And so whatever it was didn't walk past anybody else, but the bathroom door was between me and the next person. Mm-hmm. So it could have been something just residual or whatever, walking to go to the John, and I just happened to be the lucky one to catch wind of him.
Or walking out. I mean, because that when you take this really.
Yeah, it came right to left.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But other than that, I mean, I didn't get anything in. Well, I won't say that. I thought I saw something back in the kitchen area, in the kind of the holding room now, the holding area, which is going to be like a future coffee shop. It's like the gift shop now. That little one where the two guys died when the truck rolled through the thing.
The coffee shop. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was the first one in there.
Yes.
It's because my back was killing me, and I'm like, I'm not walking back to the trailer and then walking back here. So I kept my attention kept going back down the hallway where the equipment was so I was sitting against that wall that would have been like the east wall. I was looking, directly straight back where it goes back down that narrow hallway back to where like the equipment was for the restaurant. And a couple of times I saw what I thought was a really dark, thick black shadow take the light out of my peripheral. But then of course, every time I turned my head, it wasn't there. But other than that, overall, great experience. I think it's a very cool location. I didn't feel a ton of activity. I was expecting there to be more.
I was too, although, oops, let's hit my mic. Sorry. I was too. But I got different energy, or not different experiences than I thought that I would get. We used the new K2. So for those of you who don't know, they redesigned the K2, and supposedly they gave it more of where it's not going to get those fake readings. They shielded it more or did whatever. And I honestly did not really see that much at all. The hiding of it, because when I was playing the music, especially at the stage, like if I got my phone, which was no longer on airplane mode, and I was using YouTube, if I got within 10 feet of it, it would start to go off. And so I literally had to put my phone on the other side of the stage, to keep it from doing it. And so I think that I had it far enough away, because I honestly thought that it was hilarious when we were at the stage area and we had the pararem in the middle of the dance floor.
Yep.
And then we had the K2 on the stage, and we said the pararem will be a yes, and then the K2 can be a no.
Mm-hmm.
And we started playing the chicken dance.
Mm-hmm.
And like
at my request.
At your request.
Yeah.
And 30 seconds in, the K2 starts to go off.
Yep.
Like, okay, well, they're saying no to the chicken dance. Then we shut it off, and it didn't go off again, unless again my phone was moved closer as I was walking around. But while I was in the stage, I saw that red streak kind of fly across my vision, and I still don't know what that was. So you said that it was possibly a partial apparition. I think what I'm talking about, it was horizontal. It was almost like a comet. It was almost like a comet. I think you were thinking it was vertical.
Yeah, I was thinking it was vertical, and that maybe the red light had kind of bounced off of a manifestation that was starting, and then that caught your eye.
No, it was vertical. It was almost like a comet.
Was it big? Was there size to it, or was it just a thin, like, pencil line?
It wasn't so much a pencil line. If I'm looking at it, maybe an inch. Okay. But I mean, it was noticeable.
Yeah.
And I tried to recreate it, couldn't. So I mean, I got a lot of more light anomalies than I did anything else, because then I also saw that light anomaly on the floor in the bar.
Right.
Could not recreate it. Could not get it to do the same thing over again. But what's interesting to me, and we'll see what you think about this, because I don't know if you know this or not, but so there was 2 times, not our team, but Scott and Cameron's team, that got the heaviness to an area, to the area. And I referenced earlier that my Australian was better than Cameron's, because apparently, and I've already not so much read him the riot act on it, because I didn't, but I questioned why he would do something like that, because what he was trying to do was sound gangster, and it came out Australian. and uh, and apparently after he did that, the energy suddenly felt heavier. And I'm just like, how exactly did you try to sound gangster? Like, that they're just regular people, right?
Right.
Like, I didn't know that gangster was a language.
Right. Yeah.
And the fact that you did it so poorly that you sounded Australian.
That's hilarious.
just blows my mind. I'm like, why? Why would you even think that was a good idea?
That's funny.
But and the other thing, and this is what I don't think you know about, is after we were all done and picking up all the equipment and whatnot, Pam came over to me, and she's been with us a few times. She's done a few investigations, and she does investigations without us. She goes to events and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not like this was the first time ever that she's been out with anyone. But she said that the area around the fireplace, she said, became so heavy she couldn't make herself go up there. And it was the first time she's ever not been able to just like me, walk around, go wherever. She said it was so heavy around there. She couldn't go up there. Huh. She couldn't go by it. And it sprung to mind that right before her team went up there was when we were having our kind of intense conversation in that area. When we were talking about Dillinger, and we were talking about and my final question, which was the energy of the earth has shifted, and how, and do they feel that? So I'm wondering if our questions in our session in that area did that.
Change the energy
to that area, either by them and their reaction to it, or I don't know, maybe our energy to it.
Could be. I mean, that's also the spot where the guys got gunned down, was right by the fire. They were playing cards at that table right by the fireplace, and the guy comes in and tells the band to leave early, wrap it up after this song, and the only person that was there was the waitress, and then the guy's playing cards, and one of the guys that was playing cards of the four was it was a setup, obviously, and he knew what was happening. The other guy walks in with a Tommy gun and guns down the three guys playing cards. The interesting thing is, the cops come, and the waitress is told to wait outside, and she's outside for quite a long time. And then they come outside and they tell her, why did you file a false police report of somebody getting killed? We're going to bust you. We should take you in for filing a false report. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? There's 3 dead guys inside. And she went back inside, and the bodies were gone. There was no blood, no nothing. But what she did was she pointed out the bullet holes in the fireplace and said, look, that gun, those guys were shot. Here's the bullet holes all across the face of this fireplace. So that was the spot where those guys got murdered. I don't know, maybe something we said or something we did brought that energy back up a little bit, like that particular thing. And so there would probably make sense there would be some heaviness in there. If one of those guys that was murdered happened to be back in the room, type of thing. So yeah, I don't know. It made me think too, we tried to debunk it as the sprinkler light, but that when I saw that light on the ceiling, it wasn't red at all. It was this beautiful gold, almost like a gold sparkler would be. It wasn't that red flashing light. So, and I saw it 3 times, and I saw it once above your head, and I didn't say anything because I thought, it's just, I saw something, I don't know. I ain't going to make anything out of it unless I see it a second time. And then I saw it a second time, but it was more higher on the ceiling. And then I saw it a third time, and it was down by one of the lights that was mounted on the side of the wall. It was kind of off, free floating a couple feet away from one of the lights. So I saw it 3 times. Whatever it was active and moving around, and it wasn't stationary, and it wasn't red. So I know it wasn't that, because I was talking to, who was it? Norm, right?
Yeah.
Norm. Yeah. I was talking to Norm about it, and I told him the color, and he's like, yeah, no, he said that other light's red. And he said it, and then when we looked at it, it was blinking like every 15 seconds. And there was easily a minute to 2 minutes in between these gold flashes, which is what caught my eye. So, I mean, it was something. There was some energy there that was moving around, watching us perhaps.
Yep. I know there was a lot of shadow play.
Yeah. It's a great spot. If you're in the Twin Cities and you want to go, you can go take tours there and stuff. Mm-hmm. And you can go see this place, for yourself, and maybe have an experience, because they have experiences all the time. Daytime, nighttime, it doesn't matter. Thursdays are open for like a big, they have bands come in and they do swing dance and stuff Thursday nights. You can do a ghost tour. You can do just a normal walkthrough tour.
Unless you're rich or you have a lot of money to suddenly kill or just give away, you could rent a place like I did.
It's expensive though.
Yes. Very, very expensive.
Mm-hmm. You're better off doing the $15 tour. Just
pretty
to go
much.
Check it out. Yeah.
Or you could take that $15 and be a part of the New Earth at Planet Fitness.
You could. You definitely could. You could buy yourself a free ride to the New Earth for 1 month. You will have a little placard on the table where your seat is. And
well, now that you said it like that, it sounds like Planet Fitness is extortion. Hey guys, come on in. We got your seat for the New Earth. Yeah. Just $15. Yeah. Come on in. But again, that would be a bribe. Or extortion, depending on which way you want to go. So we still have a ton of evidence to go through. I've started mine. I decided that I was going to do it a little different this time, since usually I have it on, my external hard drive, and I just play it either on my computer or hook it up to like a big screen TV and watch it that way. I was like, you know what? I got a 75-inch 4K TV where it's already there. I'm like, I'm just going to play it right off the DVR.
There you go.
And so I just kind of leaned back in one of the chairs out in the trailer, and it's just this huge, like a movie screen in front of you. Big. And I've got front row seats. I will say, so the new wireless cameras also have audio, which I like. I was very, very happy to have DVR cameras that have audio.
Yeah, because watching DVR footage with no sound is excruciating.
It
really is. I mean,
I always describe it as literally watching paint dry.
Oh, it's bad. Yeah, I tried. I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's you have to listen to music. You have to listen to
something. You got to have something on. Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to admit that every once in a while I'll pick up my phone, like nothing's going on.
Yeah,
I got my peripheral, but I mean, otherwise you just fall asleep, because you might as well just be sitting there in a chair and watching an empty room.
Yeah, that's why I like audio. I love doing audio review. I just cannot do video.
Yeah, I can do video as long as there's audio along with it. But anyway, so in these, thankfully, and I'm very, we didn't do it because I wanted to be in the caves at all time.
Mhm.
So, but I mean, there's going to come a lot of times when I'll take a session or two off, let let the rest of my investigators go in, and then uh, I'll monitor them in the trailer. But I can stream that audio as is being recorded live into the
Mhm.
trailer. So, and I will say this about the microphones: they're they're sensitive. Like I could hear us uh I could hear us in the bar. This is the lobby camera.
Okay.
I could hear us in the bar easily, but I really could barely make out what was being said.
Okay.
So the voices were loud but unclear.
Okay.
And I'm chalking that up obviously to the fact that we're in a completely separate room.
Well, that and the acoustics in there bounce all over the place because of the curvature of the ceiling and stuff too. So it's not your typical environment for like
Right.
getting a good audio recording. It's the acoustics are great for like music, but I noticed that as well. Like when I was with Norm at the one, and he got the chair for me, and I was sitting down in the one cave, and you guys were down a little ways in that cave. I could
Yeah.
hear you, right? But I could not understand what you were saying, and neither could Norm.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, like
Well,
I couldn't understand your questions. Like I
well,
could
I'm
hear you
glad.
guys talking, but I looked at Norm. I go, "Did you hear what they said?" And he goes, "No." He said, "I can hear them," but he said, "I can't. I'm having a hard time making out what they're saying." And I was too. And I'm like, "Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't me. Like something going wrong with me."
No, I guess it makes sense. I mean, because we were like what 100 yards away from each other. I mean,
We're pretty good distance.
but there's nothing to stop from the audio or the voices from traveling. I honestly, I could hear you just fine. Like when you would ask questions, I could hear your questions.
Okay.
Um, I guess I'm just glad that we didn't overlap each other then.
Right.
Well, you did hear the quip that I made about you not being able to run away.
Yes, I did hear that.
So,
Yeah.
but then again, I was kind of talking to you too, so
Right.
I upped my volume a little bit.
Right. Yeah. And you were kind of looking at me, directing your voice towards me. You got to remember that ceiling, these caves are all sandstone.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how sandstones, I don't know if it absorbs sound or if it refracts sound. I'm not sure on sandstone, but I know it's soft and porous, obviously. But that ceiling in there had to be 20 feet, right? At least, maybe 30. And it's like a huge tube, if you can imagine that. I mean, like it's big.
Yeah.
This space that we're talking about was huge, square footage wise. If you take the height of the ceiling and the width and everything, it's pretty substantial size thing. So, but I lost what I was going to say. Anyway, but yeah, so go ahead. You were saying the audio and the thing. So do you think that the audio on the cameras then is going to be good for catching EVPs
I don't know.
if somebody's up close, or do you think that that's going to be muddled sound too?
I'm interested to see what Scott gets because Scott got the coffee shop,
Okay.
and that's enclosed. It just like a normal room,
Yeah, we can hear each other just fine in there, obviously.
right? And it's not really part of the caves. It was built onto the caves,
Right.
and so the ceilings are fine, the walls are fine. So I'm interested to see. And when when Nicole I was about to shut the TV off as we were going to go into the coffee shop, and all of a sudden, just as I hit the button, Nicole's like, "Who's that?" There's whose face is that? I mean, because you didn't tell anybody what you were doing.
No, Norm knew because I told him I couldn't walk, and you guys were already way in front of me. And I'm like, I'm not chasing them down. I know where they're headed. I'm like, where are we going next, Norm? Coffee shop. Yeah. Okay. How about we just go there now and I could just have a seat and wait for them? Yeah, that's fine.
And so I turned the TV back on because I'm like, what is she talking about? And we're looking, I'm like, well, that's Dave.
Yeah.
But I hit the button, to bring up the full screen where I can hear the audio from it. So we listened to your session for a couple minutes before we went in there. And we could hear you just fine. Like I could hear everything that you were saying just fine.
Good.
So I'm hoping that it's able to catch something.
Yeah.
Or if anything, it can be used to debunk, because if we get a voice on the recorder, but it's not on the camera, I mean, the microphones are really good at picking up voices, maybe just not, like what they're saying or whatever. So, I mean, it can be used for that purpose as well. But obviously more investigations are going to have to be done before we get into, how much can we trust,
right?
The audio from the new cameras.
And I think that's just like, you're right. I mean, it's just going to come with using it, an experience.
Yeah. So one of the things that I learned about, I'm at least in this place, because the claims of this place and even personal experiences that I have had, that deal with them manipulating things when I'm around.
Yeah.
Not so much investigations, is trying to figure out what gets them going. We're told Minnie the Moocher gets the dancers up and dancing and stuff like that, but obviously we didn't experience that.
Right.
But I mean, I think was it Pam? I think Pam even asked, like, what is it you want to talk about? I think you did too at some point.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah, you did too at some point. What is it you want to talk about? And it's so hard to pick that up. Do they want to talk about how they died?
Right.
Not, we're kind of and we've preached it as well. No, you don't talk about that, because who wants to talk about that?
Right.
Do they want to talk about politics? Well, what kind of politics are they interested in talking about? Like, we have so little knowledge of what gets them going that we're just constant. It's almost like throwing darts at a wall blindfolded.
Yeah.
To see what you can hit. And, do they react to serious questions like the Dillinger thing, like the shifting of the energy? And, how do they take their standards back in the 20s and 30s to what we have now, if they're even aware of that.
Right.
And so I think the only issue with Wabasha is not that they're there. We all know that they're there.
Oh, they're there. Yeah.
They're absolutely there.
Yeah, I took a look online just out of curiosity, because I thought that maybe the place would have like a best of, like a book or something they put together, like a best of evidence that we've caught, and I couldn't find anything.
No.
But I did go online and take a look, and there's quite a few photos and stuff posted of people that have been to the caves that they look like. There's a couple pictures that I saw that were pretty cool. Like, I'd have been excited if I'd have caught them.
Well, I think those were actually caught not by investigators, but by employees.
Well, it could be too.
Because I know when I went for my original tour with Faith, who is the owner, she showed me a couple photos that she had gotten, or that an employee had sent her, of like the dark figure on the stage and stuff like that. But no, honestly, and I even said this to Norm when I left, because I asked him, I'm like, when we're done with everything, do you want us to come back and give you a reveal? Because that's what we did the first time that we were there.
Yeah.
And I expanded on that. I'm like, because Emily, who is like their main, I think she's like their main sales lady, like the main events coordinator or whatever. I'm like, she doesn't seem to give a shit.
No.
I mean,
right.
and Norm was like, yeah, he's like, I would love that. Like he even made sure that, if I emailed Emily about it, to make sure he was on the email so she couldn't sweep it under the rug.
Gotcha.
So I've always gotten the sense from that play, and this is not a knock on them whatsoever. Just people are not necessarily interested in it, or they know that it's there and they like to ignore it, or that's not their main focus. Like Eastern State is that way. Like they're like, we would like to focus on the history, not the hauntings.
Right.
They find it interesting, but they don't want to waste their time on it.
Right.
But
it's
I know
not going to be their bread and butter.
Right. And God, it won't be, because nobody around here can afford that shit.
No.
If you want a wedding, if you want to dance, you're not going to find a more beautiful place. It's gorgeous.
It's cool. Yeah, it's a cool place.
And
it feels nostalgic. Like that bar, when you walk in there, and there's a great picture of the bar online. Like when you walk in there, that bar feels like it's from the 40s or 50s. Like it does. It's not modern in any way, shape, or form.
All the alcohol is, though.
I do. It is. And I do love the fact, and I pointed this out to Norm, we talked about it for a while. I do love the fact that they have a lot of that lighting that's in there is from a church, which I love. Because I love that old church. Yeah, I love the old church lighting like that. And I'm looking around. And I said, Norm, I said, these light fixtures, these look like they came from a church. And he's like, yeah, they did. There was a big Catholic church in St. Paul that shut down, and then fire or something, I don't know. And then they salvaged it, and the church donated the lights to the caves. Asked them if they wanted them. So there's, I don't know, I saw at least a half a dozen, probably more than that. Really beautiful old like church lights, which I thought were really cool.
Thanks. So while we were in the coffee shop, it was our last session of the night.
Yep.
Quiet in there. I did think that I had heard a muffled male voice and didn't see anybody outside. So we'll see if that got caught.
Yeah.
And it happened right after one of Nicole's questions. But we started just throwing out just ideas and kind of just chit-chatting and I guess Scott and Cameron's team did the same thing. And I posed this question to Scott, and this isn't the main thing, but it's now a new a new topic here. We're not going to get to what I want to talk about, but I asked him, I was like, do you think that we were influenced by the energy of the coffee shop? Because the coffee shop is where you go to mingle. It's where you go to chit chat. Even now, it's like where the tours meet and people sign up and they get a drink and they chit chat with each other before the tour begins.
You buy a t-shirt or buy a memorabilia.
Exactly. And I was like, do you think that maybe we were influenced by that energy where both teams decided to just kind of set the investigation aside and just kind of chat amongst ourselves?
It's definitely possible. I think part of that was the fact that it was the last session of the night and we were kind of questioned out for us.
I'm never questioned out.
I mean, I wasn't questioned out. I was going down a rabbit hole, with the whole, the two people that passed away in there when the truck rolled through the wall. And then, what if those two people somehow could go back in time and remove themselves from that situation, but it's already predetermined that two people die in that accident.
Well, that was the actual thing that I wanted to talk about, is that theory and that question. But
yeah,
I figured since we hadn't had a chance to talk about the whole kind of energy influence thing, that I'd bring that up first.
Yeah, well, that's fine. We can bring it up next week's show too. And we can. That'd be a good question for Kathy too, actually, to see what kind of she thinks about that. But I think that's a definite possibility because I didn't feel distracted at all. I was still focused on the investigation and focused on being there, but it did turn into more of just a social chat session towards the end there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my question is, when Scott's team, where were they when they were getting all their power drains? Were they in the coffee shop? Because didn't they experience a bunch of battery drains?
I think that
or was that in the caves? I don't
they're
remember
either
where
in
they
the
were.
bar. They're either in the bar or the caves. One of the two.
All right. As I say, because I wasn't sure maybe if they were in that front room or in the coffee shop and they had all those battery drains, then that would make sense that something was there, something intelligent.
No,
and it was getting energy that it needed.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I think they were in the bar or the caves.
Okay. All right. Well, never mind that then.
So, like I said, one of the theories that we brought up, and we talked about a whole bunch of different things, to the point where Nicole started to complain that she wasn't going to get any sleep because she was just going to go home and
She's
start
going
to start Googling shit.
I'm going to start Googling stuff. I'm like, oh, good luck with that.
But I posed the question. I was like, if time has no meaning,
right,
which we talk about all the time as being a human construct, and
it's a man-made construct, absolutely.
and even seen as like you live past, present, future all at the same time, and time has no meaning to energy. You can go forward and go backward and do whatever.
Right.
Would you not go back and warn yourself?
Sure, I would.
Well, sure you would, but I mean, but the question is, can you?
Right.
And what, I didn't get a chance to ask this because we just kind of went one thing to another. But
paranormal belly.
Oh, I'm not even going to get into it.
That's your stomach going, I want some breakfast.
Yeah, it wants more than that. But been dealing with that for like 2 weeks now. But what form would that take? Could you? And this came to my mind yesterday. I was thinking about this and how I wanted to have it be part of the show. The stories that we read, that we read one just a couple weeks ago, about the 15-year-old girl who suddenly heard "run" screamed into her ear, and how she ran for her life for no reason. When she turned around, a car crashed right where
she was standing. Yeah.
Well, here's another question that we never bothered to ask. We say guardian angel. We say is it spirit guides warning you, or what? Is it her? Did she
another
go
version
back?
Of her? Yeah.
I mean, did the car hit her at some point in time?
At one point, right?
And then I don't know if she died. I don't know if maybe she had lifelong ailments.
Right.
Such, and when she finally passed away, she's like, I'm going to warn myself.
Yeah, I don't want to have that happen again.
And then I don't have to live with everything.
Right.
Could that be an answer as to why suddenly people hear stop, run, don't?
Wouldn't that just? Yes, I agree. Yes. Is it a possible answer? Absolutely. But how would that screw with the timeline, that we all kind of think is present, like if you change, and maybe it's just we're being influenced by the movies, like Butterfly Effect, obviously, because that's where everybody's mind goes to here. So if we change something in the timeline, isn't there ramifications? We've always been told there is. I mean, I've even seen scientific journals and research papers and stuff that said, if we were able to go back in time and change something, it would change the future.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do we know that? It's just a guess.
Well, we can and we can't. So if you believe in the whole quantum realities, everything that can happen does happen.
Right.
And so, you know, let me just put this. This is one of the instances that I thought about yesterday. If I were to go back and let's say, 40 years I pass away,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you know what? I don't like how things happened. And I go back, I go back, or maybe she does, or whatever, but I go back and I warn my mother not to take this watery curve at a fast speed. Because doing so eventually, over a quick period of time caused her death.
Yeah.
So if I were to go back and be like, Mom, stop, or slow down, or whatever, and she does, and she lives, I wouldn't be a paranormal investigator. At least I don't think I would be, because that happened after she had passed away.
Yeah.
It would change everything from that point on, especially with everybody that she meet. I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't have helped anybody. Anybody on the team wouldn't have come on. I'm sure some people would probably be happy about that. But none of that
would have happened.
None of that would have happened.
Right.
So I guess the question is, do you go back and change something small, or do you go back and change something large if you're able to?
Well,
if you had the chance, did you go back and warn yourself about not stepping on the ice?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
But that would be a major change for you.
That would be a humongous change for me, because I wouldn't, the last 10 years of my life would be completely different.
I mean, and all it would take is, while you're approaching it, just a sudden stop.
Right.
Would stop, and it would make you look around.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, just one word.
Right.
And I think back to, something that I would change, something like that. And I'm trying to think of all of these. What would happen if I changed this? What would happen if I changed that? And I go back to, I don't know if you remember this or not. When we had Chad Lindbergh on, and we were kind of joking and making fun of that EVP that he got. I think what was it, Whispering Pines, or something like that in Indiana. It was like the pilot episode, and he got that, Chad, be a man.
Yeah.
And when we laugh about it, because it's fucking hilarious.
It is hilarious. Yeah.
Forgive my French.
Yeah.
But his take on it was interesting, and I kind of laughed at him about that too. But he's like, I felt that it was me coming back and giving myself a message to not be so scared,
be afraid. Yeah.
To not be afraid, be a man.
Right.
And I never thought of it that way. So I mean, and that's a form that you could take, especially if you're a paranormal investigator.
Absolutely.
I mean, somebody asks a question, or just you sit next to yourself and you're just like, Chad, be a man. I don't know why I'm whispering it. I don't need to, but I'm doing it anyway to make it a little creepier.
Yeah.
But like I honestly, and I fight this question all the time. Like, would you change anything? Would you go back and change anything? Because you would erase
everything coming forward.
Not so much.
I wouldn't erase it. It'd just be different.
It'd be different.
Yeah, it'd be different. So you'd be screwing with the future, and not only your future, but other people's futures.
Mm-hmm. So again, do you change something big, or do you change something small?
I think that's why we're not allowed to change anything, because it would just be nothing but chaos.
It would change. It would change a lot. But I mean, again, anything that you change already exists in another quantum reality.
Right.
So,
like, I would go back. I think about this and laugh about this a lot. I would go back to the Kentucky Derby 3 years ago when the long shot horse won the Derby, right? And I would pick the quadfecta, not the trifecta, but the four place win, because and I would take all the money that I have. I'd come up with about $100,000 and I'd put it down, because on a 50-cent bet, it paid something like $5,300, because it was the odds were so astronomically against it happening. So I would go back and change something like that so that I had some play money to be able to do stuff.
Play money? Yeah. $100,000 on an astronomical bet.
Odds bet. Yeah. I mean, I figured it out. It'd be something to be like, it would have been like 50 million, something like that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of play money.
It's play money. So, people would be doing that all the time though, right? Like when the lottery was $1 billion. Like if you had the ability to go back and change things, the line would be long. Everybody would have the winning numbers. So there's some sort of key that keeps us from being able to do that. Even though I totally believe it's happening in another lifetime, and maybe in some other slice of the veil, maybe I did pick the 4 horses, and maybe that's why I think about it all the time, because maybe it really happened to another David.
Well, here's my question to you then. We're so out of time, and I still want to talk about this. How would we know?
We wouldn't. It'd be a gut feeling. I mean, that's the best I could chalk it up to. Would be like, it feels real. Why does it feel real to me? Why am I thinking about it a lot? I shouldn't be thinking about it at all. I should have thought about it when it happened, and I thought, "Oh, I wish I would have done that." But why 3 years later? Why am I still talking about it? It's not important. It didn't happen, but I'm still talking about it. It's relevant. So maybe things like that are weird or seem out of place. Like, why am I talking about this? This isn't important. This isn't a part of my life. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is a part of my life in a different David's life. And maybe there's some trickle-down theory. So maybe some of the things that are happening in my life are trickling down to a David in another life. I don't know.
Yeah, I have
shared
sworn,
memories.
I have sworn at a lot of my other selves for getting the thing for getting the things that I want that they got, but I didn't.
Yeah, gotcha.
and for some reason, it actually seems to be a goal of my higher self to show me all of these other realities and be able, not all, but some of these other realities where those me's got what I wanted and I didn't.
Oh, well, that's awful nice of them.
Which is why I continually call him a prick.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a dick move right there.
Yeah, it's a very dick move, and apparently it was to give me hope.
Well, it's not giving you hope because it's already happened to a different version of you. Yes. It's not giving you hope. Yeah. What kind of asinine thing? That's where you slap somebody upside the head. That ain't give you hope. That just gives you frustration and anger because the things that you want to receive now for yourself are being given to other selves.
Yes, indeed. But
that guy choke him out next time, man. Be like, hope this, bitch.
Yeah, that's why every time the topic gets brought up with Cena, I'm like, he's a dick.
Yeah, he's a dick.
I'm like, my higher self is a complete douche. So, and then she always laughs and she's like, well, you should hear what he says about you. I'm like, I don't care. Then I guess we're one and the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, all right. Well, we need to end the show. So we're already 5 minutes over. Talking too much. We'll hit this topic again because I think it's either with a guest or just with the two of us, because I think that it's a good conversation to have.
I do too. I think I think that's a good question to throw into when we have our round table of psychics. Honestly.
Yes,
to get 3 different perspectives, right? Because you're going to have a perspective from Jody, who's a white witch, basically, an earthbound, earth magic, earth type of person. And then, you're going to have 2 gifted psychics. Mm-hmm. And I'd be interested to see like what their takes are on a question like that.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week. I think
Kathy will be here.
I think at a
different time. We're going to be 12:30 to 2:30.
12:30 to 2:30.
Our time, Central Standard Time. Yeah, because she's got a church service in the morning that she does every Sunday morning. And she's in Arizona, so we are adjusting for her time.
Yes. So we will be back next weekend, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, we will for Sunday afternoon
for our show. So until then, stay healthy, stay safe. We want to see you back here. Everyone have a great week.